right. Welcome to the Chestnut Checkers podcast. We back at it again. Trey Butts.
Hey, to be fair, we could always play checkers. Like we could play chess, like, online. If we had to.
Yeah, I'm cool with checkers, man.
All right. Jambo, my man Jambo, you better be watching. He said something to me before we got on. You don't know nothing about that. All right, Reed. Give them what they want.
Give them what they want. We can't be doing too much of Jalen and Jacoby shit.
Okay.
Oops. That was our first cuss word slip. I hit it. All right, so let's just start off with a little check-in round, bro. Kind of recap, what's been up with Trey Butts and Malcolm Reed over the last week. So I'll go first, if you don't mind. All right. So basically, had a weekend offer from baseball, but we did have a couple of good days of practice. Football practice going, we in phase 2 of this corona thing, so there's a lot of stuff going on with that, but we have been practicing. That's been fun. I'm part of this Humanities Amp Teacher Institute that I've been working with for the last week, and that's been awesome. Just learning a lot, working with some cool people, man. Getting ready for this next school year. Got to stay sharp in the classroom. Spending time with family. We had Father's Day yesterday, and I was just getting it with my people. And, man, my son's baseball game out in the second. Just watching him go out there and do his thing, bro. He waits every day. Like, every morning he wake up like, is it Friday? Do I have a game today? Like, every morning he wakes up.
That's good. That's good.
Not a game day, is practice. So, he loves it. So, I'm enjoying it. Just facilitating his gifts and his things that he wants to do without me even having to say, hey, you need to be doing this and anything like that. What you want to do, let's do that. So that's about it.
Okay. Myself, I have been we've had select soccer tryouts here around the Jackson, Mississippi area. So I've been busy doing that this past week, trying to get some teams formed. And we started soccer workouts at our high school again, where I work for boys and girls. We're checking temperatures as they come aboard, Reed.
Yeah, we're doing
checking temps. So it's been crazy. I've seen a lot of spikes, with certain college programs, but we're not really being affected here for the most part. We're seeing a lot of asymptomatic cases, but nobody that's symptomatic. So I think the fact that the word cases gets thrown around like people are saying deaths already. You know what I mean? I don't like that. But it's been hot here in Mississippi. We have had some good weather all week. It just started raining the past couple of days. But other than that, man, let's get into it. I got something for you, right. Reed.
We back to it again.
So, man, I got 2 songs for you. We're gonna see how well Malcolm Reed knows his music. You might have to turn yours off so you can hear this. But
gotcha.
So first instrumental of the day. All right.
Mm-hmm.
This is not a throwback, but it's not past couple years. But okay, it's kind of easy. But here we go. You ready? All right. If you can get the artist and the song. All right.
I'm gonna let it play. Let it play, man.
You still got 5 more seconds.
Yeah, hold on. I'm thinking about it. Keep it on, man.
That's it. 15 seconds. Who is it?
15. Oh, that's David Banner, Like a Pimp. It's the remix with Lil Flip. It's Lil Flip.
Featuring Little Flip. Okay, I had to pull some Mississippi stuff out. That song is going to get into what we're talking about right now. That whole song was about the racial injustices, a lot of the rebel flag issues. The rebel flag was thrown all around that video. They actually
That's
did it.
right. Didn't David Banner have it on his album cover?
Yes, they actually did that.
He was burning it too.
They did it in Jackson at the park there. I want to say, I don't know what park it was in Jackson, but it was one that they did the video at. All right, you won 1 for 1 on that. All right, next one. You ready?
Bam.
Are you ready?
Yeah, I'm ready, man.
Okay, dude.
David
All
Banner
right.
in
That was too easy. That was too easy.
Yeah, it was.
Okay. All right, here we go. $15 seconds. Right.
That would be Dead Presidents by Jay-Z, recent
Okay.
album, 1996. I think
Now read.
DJ Premier did the beat, I think. I might be wrong, though.
Dang, dude, you just know everything about that. All right, here's the deal, okay? So, Dead Presidents, what are we talking about, Reed?
Dinero.
About money, right?
Dinero.
Okay, so we're talking about money with Dead Presidents. Also hit you with that David Banner. We're talking about the flag issue, right? Right? Okay, so here's what it boils down to. Here's my question. Question of the day. All right, you ready for this?
Mm-hmm.
Woo! Okay. Malcolm.
Yo.
There is a mountain in central northern part of Georgia called Stone Mountain. Have you ever been to it?
I know.
Have you heard of it?
I heard of it.
Okay. What 3 Confederate figures are carved into the side of Stone Mountain?
Man, bro, I just watched something about this yesterday.
3 Confederate. Now, for the people that don't know.
That was on that video I sent you about John Oliver. John Oliver talked about it.
Okay, Reed, you have 2 sides. You have the Confederate Army, and what's the other side, right?
Yeah, the Union.
So the Confederate would be.
Hold up. Time out. It's 3 of them, right? They were generals. Because I'm trying to get my thoughts together. Because I think
two of them were generals.
I can guess Robert E. Lee. I could guess probably.
You would be correct. Robert E. Lee is one of them.
All right. I would say, dang, I just had another one. Nathan Bedford Forrest.
No. All right. So
I don't know the other 2.
It was 2 generals, Robert E. Lee and Stonewall Jackson.
Stonewall Jackson. I did not say that.
And there was a president, Jefferson Davis.
Jefferson Davis he was carved into the thing too.
Mm-hmm. He was a president.
That's a Mississippi boy right there.
Okay. So
sorry, bro.
Here's the reason that I chose this question. Okay. A lot of people are talking about, removing statues and burning these flags and all these things, right?
Mm-hmm.
This was a mountain that my family took me to when I was younger, maybe like 12, 13. Right? Went up the little sky lift, Yeah. They had a big light show. It was just like, my parents didn't say these were Confederate soldiers, blah, blah, blah. Like, we just looked at it. It was cool,
Right.
There's no background meaning, okay? So without getting too much into it, I need to give you a little history lesson, okay? Stone Mountain opened on April 14th, 1965. 100 years to the day of Lincoln's assassination. Okay?
In then.
Are you with me real quick? Okay.
April 14th, right?
April 14th, 1965. 100 years to the day that they opened up
to the day
to honor the 3 Confederate people. Okay. All right, here we go. So, the Venable Brothers was a corporation that owned the mountain prior to the state of Georgia, like buying it or whatever, right? Venable Brothers. One of the brothers, Sam, he was heavily associated with the KKK and helped fund the memorial. Okay.
Yeah.
The Venable Brothers was a corporation.
Venable Brothers.
They dealt with like rock quarries and things like that, right? So they previously owned the mountain.
On the mountain.
They owned it, whatever.
You just get that mountain right, cool, bro.
For rock quarries, but the Ku Klux Klan had their reestablishment meeting on top of that mountain in 1915. Okay.
In 1915.
1915. Okay.
The birth of a nation.
50 years later, the Venable Brothers Stone Mountain is open. 50 years. Okay. 1965. Right? Okay.
50 years, right.
So getting into this whole thing, this is a part of history that we're trying to teach our youth. Confederates, soldiers, generals, and this is a memorial honoring them, right? We're honoring them. Is it right that we honor them? Are we supposed to celebrate them, Reed? As a black man, do you feel...
You're getting right into it, bro. You're getting right into it.
I'm just saying, as a black man...
slow down, man. Slow down.
Do you feel...
I feel we got to dive deeper into that.
I'm just saying, I'm just leaving you with that. That's why I chose all that today. Okay.
I got you. I like that.
Hit me with what you got.
So look, and I never been to Stone Mountain. If I had been there, then I would have known. But
so many people have died making that thing.
Just like Mount Rushmore, that's what it reminded me of when I saw it. Like, because I didn't really know it was there.
Mm-hmm.
The day before, it couldn't have been,
It's just not a coincidence that Klan activity happened atop the mountain. There was a reestablishment. The brothers who previously owned the mountain were involved in that. And then they, the mountain reopens as Stone Mountain. There's a lot of things, it's a highly criticized place that, you can't tear down a mountain, you could close down the memorial.
Blow it up.
I mean, either way. All right, go ahead.
But yeah, I was thinking about Mount Rushmore, which is like, something that's built on Indian land, Native American land, I'm so sorry. Mm-hmm. But, it's honoring presidents that didn't stop them from being, genocided, like, or just kind of like moved wherever they, and that's my question. I don't want to get that away yet. But I gotta get you now. You know what I'm saying?
All right, my turn. Hit me back.
I gotta hit you with how well does Trey Butts know white music? I think I listen to more rock than you, to be honest, bro. So,
I don't know.
Maybe not. Right. You put me on a lot of good rock music. So.
All right, first song.
Ready? First song. Mm-hmm. I hope you can hear it.
Turn it up.
Hear it.
Put it back a little closer. I can't hear it really. Leave it like that. Leave it.
All right. Time's up. I gave you like buku time.
Dude, I couldn't really hear it. Maybe it sounded like.
It sucks.
I'm gonna throw a guess. Was that Foo Fighters again?
It wasn't Foo Fighters.
I can't really hear it. Creed or something.
It's Fall Out Boy.
I've never listened to Fall Out Boy. Ever.
Okay, so now I know that. I was just saying, like.
I can't name one Fall Out Boy song. I honestly didn't even know Fall Out Boy was a group or a person until you just said it. I mean, I heard a name, but
lying. Yeah.
I swear to God, dude, I don't
remember the year of the national championship. They kept playing. The first year was the playoffs. They kept playing "Remember Me" for centuries. Like every commercial break,
that's Fall Out Boy.
Over and over, yes.
Okay, I didn't know that. Yeah. I don't follow pop music.
All right. Well, I was just saying, like it was random.
Okay, second one. Do you have another song?
I'm gonna play another one
that I could actually hear.
Hopefully, yeah. Hopefully, you can actually hear it.
All right.
Awesome. All right.
Corn, Freak on a Leash. I think everybody knows Corn, Freak on a Leash. It's just something, the video is symbolic with the bullet going through everything.
Yes.
Cool video. But anyway, all right. What's your question for me?
All right. I like how you got that one that quick because that's a jam.
You were worried. You were finna be worried.
So my question for you is, which president? I'm coming with the presidents again.
Okay.
I'm with them again. Which one signed the Indian Removal Act and like set the Native Americans who was living like in Georgia on the Trail of Tears? like he really was the one who was the president while this happened. And it happened on his watch, and he kind of I can tell you his nickname.
All right, say again what your.
He was the president that did that signed the Indian Removal Act, and like led the Native Americans to walk from east to west. Oh yeah, man.
Let's see. I'm trying to think. That time period was like. Is that like mid 1800s?
Early 1800s. I'll give you the year 1830. Indian Removal Act. 1830.
I'm gonna say. I don't know, man.
He got a big old statue in New Orleans.
Andrew Jackson?
Dang, that's too much, huh?
Is that
That's right, though. That's right. Yeah, you got it.
You shouldn't have said the statue in New Orleans.
The statue, yeah. Okay.
I was that was the only name that really popped out, but anyway.
Yeah, that's him.
All right.
And he on the $20 bill. I could have said that, but I didn't want to say it.
Okay. Well, anyway, all right. So, I know you said, I know you said we wanted to get into talking about some fathers and grandfather stuff. You know, just from our Father's Day, we weren't able to meet up yesterday. So, happy belated Father's Day to you. And like I said, I'll let you start. You know, I know you had something heavy you wanted to talk about, so go ahead.
Well, yeah. You know, happy Father's Day to all the fathers out there. You know, so I just feel like it would be right if we discuss, you know, our fathers and the people in our lives, the father figures in our lives that contributed, you know, to us being the men that we are. You know,
to us not being racist.
Yeah, and teach people that it's not that hard. Actually, it's kind of tricky though. It's not hard, but it's tricky.
Okay.
But yeah, so my dad, Mr. Frederick Douglass Reed, his dad's name was Willis V. Reed Sr. That's my grandfather who, you know, who kind of helped to lead the Baton Rouge bus boycott in 1953. Martin Luther King kind of like got his ideas from. So, you know, I'm very proud of that legacy that my grandfather left me to like live up to. But on the same side, or the flip side of that, him and my dad really didn't have no close relationship, you know, when I was growing up. So I really didn't know him. I didn't even know he existed, to be honest, until I was about 8. Marlon told me, like, yeah, he alive. Like, it's all good. And I'm like, for real, I got another grandfather. Like, that's tight. I just got a new grandparent. Like, that's what's up. But I still didn't really get to talk to him. I talked to my dad about it, and he was open with me. But when I got to high school, I'm playing in McKinley, right? And he went to McKinley. He had his own newspaper called the Baton Rouge Post. So he would be at the games on the sideline with a press pass, you know, taking pictures. And I just, you know, one day I went up to him, introduced myself, and he was like, I already know who you are. It's all good. So that's how we was able to, like, establish a relationship, you know, on our own. And I didn't really get to spend too much time with him, but, you know, time that I did, I cherished it. So shout out to Mr. Willis V. Reed Sr. and the whole Reed family, the whole legacy that, you know, that came behind him. We still holding up strong. And my other grandfather, my mom's dad, is James Stallworth the first, senior, James Stallworth Sr. And he was from Hybart, Alabama, not Butts. When I went to his family reunion in Hybart, bro.
Is it the country?
Man, it got Itabena like Itabena is like a metropolitan compared to Hybart, Alabama, dog, for real. And they had these gnats out there. They just like swarmed and attacked us, man. They had me in tears. Like it was something out of a movie. I was like 5 or 6 years old, and it was just crazy. My grandfather, his real name was Patrick McCants, right? So when he was living in Alabama, and he got himself in a little bit of trouble. And I don't really know all the details of the story. I'm trying to piece it together, you know, as the years go by, you know. But he had to leave Alabama, basically, and because some people was looking for him. and they was white people, and he was a black man. They was when it's Alabama in the
40s.
1920s maybe.
Oh.
The teens, actually, it's the teens, because he was born in 1903. He died at 100 years old. 95. So hopefully I get years too. But yeah, he had to escape. He moved to Baton Rouge and changed his name to James Thorpe. And so it was a white family that helped him. So they was the ones who gave him that name. He moved to Baton Rouge. And here I am because of that.
That's crazy. So your grandfathers, both of them, you said Alabama. Where's that near in Alabama?
I honestly don't even know, but it's like I ain't gonna to you. I have no clue. But it's not near the coast. It's like the clay is red. So I think it's a little bit more
maybe north.
Towards Georgia.
So Alabama and the other one's from where?
He's from Baton Rouge.
Baton Rouge. Okay. So both my grandfathers have passed on. One passed on this past November. I said passed way too many times, but no, it's all good.
That's cool.
He lived a long life, well into his mid 80s. And this is my dad's father. So he was a small business owner, owned his own business in Jackson, office supply store. Taught the values early about hard work to my father. A lot of people don't know this, but my father didn't he didn't spend 1 hour in college. He was even held back, a year in high school or middle school. But my father instilled these hard work ethics in my dad really early. So my dad started working right out of high school, and eventually led to him starting his own business as well. So my dad's side of the family, both men just showed extreme willingness to make sure that their offspring, did what they did in a sense of, listen, I'm gonna show you what hard work is, and a fullest day of hard work is, and both of them were very athletic, sports-driven men as well. My grandfather, made it as far as AAA baseball with the Boston Red Sox. Got beamed in the temple. That ended his career. He was a baseball player, football player, played halfback. And my father the same way. Very athletic. Sport athlete. So sports were kind of ingrained into me as a young age. And never had a father who, we know a lot of kids, their fathers are living their missed dreams and opportunities through their kids' eyes who are playing baseball and soccer. The small business mindset, creating something that's your own, that was driven into me early. Don't depend on others to be successful. That's one reason probably a lot of the ventures I've gotten into were self, driven. My father always taught me very young. I started working for him at his office supply store when I was, 13, 14. Became delivery driver during the summer when I was 15, but successfully ran a business for, 30 plus years. At his peak performance was bringing in, $250,000 a year off a supply store. So,
yeah.
And he built it from nothing.
To Marty.
Yeah. Shout out to my dad, and my dad's doing well now. My other side, my mom's grandfather, he passed away when I was 5 or 6. Italian, full-blooded, Frankie Signa. They called him Jughead. He was a 3-sport athlete as well in high school in Greenville, Mississippi. Fought in World War II. Was awarded a Silver Star for bravery. Him, I didn't really get to know well, but just from the stories I've heard from mom and family members, he was just another human being who didn't see color and, came here as an immigrant in the early
He was straight from Italy.
Yeah, Sicily came here as an immigrant in the early 1900s. A lot of Italians, settled right there in Greenville. Great farming land. So the Delta was a place. But I would often hear stories of the restaurant that my family owns, Doe's Eat Place in Greenville. It used to be a grocery store, and even at one point was a juke joint for only blacks and Italians.
Yeah.
We were told that Italians were looked down upon amongst a lot of the white, large portion of the white community, to the point where there was racial slurs that you could call Italians back then. They got them, but anyway, I think just to kind of wrap up, I think just grandfathers, fathers, they were just men who, didn't judge a book by its cover, and ultimately got to know a man before they made their assumptions of him. And that was always instilled in me early. Just it wasn't out of the ordinary. It wasn't as if they made a point to say, you got to be a hard worker and you got to make yourself for your own and treat people equal. They just led by example, and it's just what we see. What we grew up as is normal. So it's a tough weekend for a lot of people that have just lost fathers recently or have never had fathers. My wife is someone who's, never known her father, really been in her life since she was, 2-3 years old. So she's always looked at my father as hers, but I just hope that, 20 years from now that I've led a life to where my sons who are fathers can say the same things that me and you are saying right now,
Right.
So,
So a couple of things I want to bring up. That first of all, your pops has always treated me so much respect, and just, I always, just felt comfortable saying anything to him. He just always kept it real. Good dude. And I forgot to mention that my dad's father, Willis, he fought in World War II as well. You know what I'm saying? So we both got, grandfathers that was World War II veterans. I think we did mention that when we talked about Drew Brees a couple weeks ago. But a couple things that my dad had going on. He was a Vietnam vet, and yesterday I posted some pictures of him, during his Army days and military days, and some of his football days. Because, man, my dad, I hear this all the time, bro. And your dad was the coldest quarterback come through Capital. That's what the old heads be telling me. It's funny. They be showing him so much love. Like, he could ball, though, and then he started our little youth football team in our neighborhood, the Howell Park Cougars. That's what, me and all my brothers played in. Pretty much all the dudes from the hood, we would come to Howell Park. We had a team there. And there was other teams around the city that we competed against, but that was a team that my dad started. So it kind of like example that he was leading by. And, he never really was like, he was aware of race. And, he grew up in the Jim Crow South as a black man. And watched, like, his senior year was the year Kennedy got killed. He lived through the 60s during high school and Vietnam. So, like, baby boomer. Your dad was... Still but, like, think about the different experiences that they probably had to go through, to navigate their lives, in the South during that time. But even with that, it's like you just treat people how they treat you based off who they are. Like, just let their deeds speak for them, not the color of their skin. You just look past it.
No, Reed.
Not look past it, but
our fathers, just the people of that generation, the good ones, man, they were so much stronger than the majority of these people I see today. Like people of color in the 60s, I see people like people today at these riots or protests, right? They may get pushed down to the ground or, some pepper spray. You go back to the 60s, you got water hoses at your face. You're getting beat with a club. You got dogs ripping your flesh apart. You know what I mean? Right. and they kept, and they were persistent, you know what I mean? But, anyway,
yes, man,
they were strong back there, man. Shout out to the fathers.
For real.
If I can roll into this next thing, Reed, we kind of wanted to address, unless you wanted to add anything else.
Let me see. Make sure I cover all my crossed all my T's and dotted my I's and lowercase J.
And look, it's like you said.
That's it, man. I just want to say just to close that part out about fathers, because I didn't really talk about, me being a father myself and lead by example for my kids. And you talked about, a lot of athletes' fathers who, try to live through their kids vicariously, whatever. And, sometimes I think about that, how it might look when people see my son. I post videos of him hitting the ball and doing well in baseball. And, I am teaching him some of those things, but this kid really wants me to do it. So I just be wondering how that perception works sometimes, because, people gonna say different things about you regardless. They talked about Jesus, you know what I'm saying? So I ain't tripping on it, because I know the relationship that me and my son. But I just be thinking, like, because of that perception of other dads who actually are doing that, I wonder if people be.
I don't know, Reed. I just, as a coach, I think there's a fine line between being a father and being a coach. I never had any issues with my dad. He coached me in basketball, baseball,
Right.
You name it. My dad never played soccer, but yet it's the sport that I coach now, and he supports me. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And when I was growing up, I played it, and he didn't know what was going on, but he supported me. He didn't try to make me do this or make me do that. But he also, the biggest thing is, you don't want your kids to feel as if they are going to a job.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? When as a parent, if you tell your children they got practice, and he lets out a sigh, not because he's tired or sore, but because like, man, do I really have to go tonight? Then, now look, don't get me wrong. Like I said, there's a fine line, because as a parent, sometimes what's best for your kids. You have to push your kids, but there's a difference between ability and effort. And I see too many fathers that, get down on their kids based upon ability.
Right.
That's not fair. I've had really close personal friends. Recently this past year, one of my good friends had to bury his 19-year-old son that, died of brain cancer. And, coached with him growing up, and he was, I think about if that was my own son, and I think about things that I've said to him that really don't matter in the grand scheme of things, that maybe I went overboard with or whatnot. You know what I mean? So, I think in terms of that, like being a father, having a kid that plays, just be grateful that they can breathe, that they are healthy, and they're out there doing something that they love with their friends, and developing good social skills. You and I know the statistics of professional players. There's, I'm gonna tell my kids, if you wanna be a professional soccer player, go for it. I'm gonna support you.
Right.
But I'm not going to sell out on it. But, I'm not going to sell out. But
that's my dad kind of put that in me, because he was like, I ain't pushing y'all to do nothing. If you want to do it, then I'm going to help you, and that's it. But if you, because he was a coach, he played ball, so obviously, people, it's the same stigma of the coach dad. Who,
right, for sure.
Just going a little too hard sometimes. But, at the end, but another thing you said about the fine line, some kids really need that sometimes.
Some need the push.
They need the push, and they need the structure of a team sport and the organization of it, and the experience, social skills, competition, because those are the life lessons that sports teaches you. Clearly, if it wasn't for sport, obviously we both come from sports backgrounds, because we met because of our, of playing ball.
Well, no, you're right. I just think that, pushing your child to the point of emotional, baggage and stress and pressure is not healthy for a kid. You know, it could lead to resentment. Or what I see as a soccer coach more than anything, Malcolm, is burnout. You know, I've seen families spend $20,000 from the time their child starts playing competitive sports. They graduate high school and they go, I don't want to play college soccer, or I don't want to play college. You know, I'm burnt out.
Yep.
So anyway,
baseball got a lot of that too.
Yeah. All right.
Good talk about fathers. Shout out to all the fathers, my father figures. Y'all know who y'all are. If I start naming people, I'm gonna forget them. You know what I'm saying? My uncles, stepdaddies out here, who my friends' dads, and all of that. You know, like everybody who was there for me. You know, appreciate y'all for real.
Right. So moving into what's kind of going on right here. Baton Rouge, Louisiana. I'm here in Jackson, Mississippi. So we got a lot of stuff going on in Jackson right now. The main thing is this talk about changing the flag, right? And man, it's spreading. Like,
yeah,
you know, and it's spreading in the way of now it's coming down to football players that play for these huge universities. They're saying, I'm not playing. Colin Hill was the most recent. So I'm not playing for Mississippi State unless we get the flag changed. And a lot of other, you know, SEC is saying we're not going to play any championships there. By the way, we ain't never playing no championships in Mississippi. What is he talking about? But you know,
man. You never know.
I'm just, but this is what it's going to take. Okay. They're talking about changing the flag and all that it stands for. I'm for it. I've been talking about changing the flag for years. And now I see all these people hop on social media, try to act like they just thought of it. Like, come on, man. Like, you weren't trying to change a flag 3 years ago or 2 years ago when I was
bandwagon.
You know, so all these, you know, people trying to make change is like a lot of these Saints fans that hopped on the bandwagon a couple years ago. You know what I'm saying? Like,
that's your people.
But regardless, the more people that hop on this bandwagon to change the flag, let's do it. Let's get it done. It's long overdue. You know, there's too many people that are for it. Now that what's funny, athletes and commissioners and presidents of certain, you know, corporations are starting to put pressure, you know, on the state saying, look, we got to change this flag or we're not playing here or we're not doing that. So when that starts affecting people's money, you know, I would assume that things are going to get changed. So honestly, man, Reed, we kind of had a discussion about this the other day, but the rebel flag, as it's known, the Dixie flag.
The Dixie flag. The stars and bars.
So, you know, it represents, you know, the original Confederate, you know, South, I guess. And it's turned into something that I think there's more hate and evil surrounded with it than there is good. And I think that's the reason that it needs to change. As a white man, I have no problem with this changing. You know, I was born and raised in Mississippi. My father did not tell me that this was a sacred flag and that it is all things holy, which a lot of people have been.
Man,
you know, that flag is. I almost feel as though the people that represent that flag to their core don't represent America. You know what I'm saying? They're choosing, you know, a certain side of, you know, the past that they want to keep and they want to maybe thrive again. You know what I'm saying?
Right. Yeah.
So, I mean, how do you feel about it? You don't live in Mississippi. Now listen.
I live in Louisiana, though.
Now, listen, we're talking about the Dixie Rebel flag, and then we're talking about the Mississippi state flag is what we're trying to change. The Rebel flag, I mean, that's been outlawed, and, you know, a lot of the colleges are no longer allowed to fly it. And, you know, of course, NASCAR is not doing it as well. But we're talking about the state of Mississippi flag, where we still have, you know, old, you know, history of the Confederate. I mean, our flag is, you know, it has some evil representation on it, you know. And anyway, have you seen the 2 new options for the flag that I posted?
Yeah, I saw him.
Which one did you like? There's the one with the magnolia, and then there's the Stennis flag that the Stennis lady created.
I really like the I think it's a tough call.
Yeah, it was.
I think you could put the one on the bottom you had posted with the start with the
that's the Stennis
flag.
flag.
Like throw a magnolia on there too. You know what I'm saying? Like don't leave a magnolia off because I think about magnolias when I think about missing.
But when it's all said and done, it doesn't matter to me. Like whether they change the flag or not is not going to impact me as a human being and affect my decision making. But there's a lot of Black Americans, especially Mississippians, that bothers them. You know what I mean? And they're and I have no right to say that shouldn't bother you. You know, we live in a very, you know, sensitive culture these days, but that's a pretty serious one that I would say, you know what, I'm for you. So does it matter to you, Malcolm, if we change it?
Yeah, it does, man. I don't like to see it, to be honest, like, because it's just a reminder of, you know, what they was fighting for and what that flag stood for.
What were you taught? What were you taught that it stood for? What were you taught? Were you taught that any white person who has this flag is a racist and they don't like Black people? Was that what you were taught?
No, I was not taught that. I was taught that it was just the flag that represented the South, and it was a Southern thing, and it was heritage, not hate. You know, it was like, you know, these people's ancestors fought in this war, and, you know, it's like Memorial Day for them to, you know, like it memorializes those who died. Just like we honor.
I get that. I get that.
That's what was taught to me. That's the picture that was painted. But slavery was in the background of what they was fighting for. But then it was trying to say they was fighting for state rights. Was it about slavery? Was it not about slavery? There was actual argument about it at one time before I was, you know, I found the secession letters from each of the southern states. And pretty much it was blatantly explicit that these people wanted to keep slavery, and that's why they broke away to do the war. Even the author of the creator of the flag just recently, you know, they found them, they got memes out about his quote. Now, I didn't really do too many, you know, follow-ups on it, but it seems legit, like something that somebody, the guy who made the flag would say that, you know, we want to do this for slavery, to keep slavery. And that was the reason.
I mean, but you go from slavery to segregation.
Yeah.
You don't go from slavery to free American.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So I put it this way. The only Dixie flag that I remember as a young kid was on the top of the Dukes of Hazzard car.
That was in your household.
That I knew of. That I saw, was exposed to.
Mm-hmm.
I just thought the car looked cool. Bo and Luke Duke, they didn't seem like racist to me.
I did too. No, they was cool, man.
They didn't seem like racist.
They was good old boys. That's what they were.
They didn't like the police, you know, which was oddly enough.
Which people definitely, you know, it resonated with us.
So, but, you know, I wonder, was anyone back then going, hey, man, that flag on top of that car, I don't like it.
They probably were. You know, we just didn't, you know, those people were, you know, marginalized where they didn't have platforms. You know, it wasn't no social media for them to just go start a movement behind it. You know what I'm saying? So they just had to be stuck wherever they were, and nobody was trying to push that narrative out, you know, because they trying to just like keep that on the low, really.
Yeah. Well, all right. Second part to this, you know, people are outraged about the statues and the flag. Okay. Right here in my home, we have this huge attraction. It's called the Ross Barnett Reservoir. Okay. Huge. People come from all over to, you know, we're putting up restaurants, we got condos on it. You know, there's all kind of bars and people on their boats and upriver fishing, whatever. You know,
the first time I went home with you, that's where you took me and JJ
to the reservoir. Like
you had been saying like, man, I'm gonna take y'all to the reservoir. I'm like, yeah.
The red. So
you didn't name it. You didn't name it the Ross Barnett Reservoir though, so I didn't know who Ross Barnett was.
okay.
So
Well, I
talk
told
about
you.
that.
All right. So a lot of people don't know Ross Barnett was a former governor of Mississippi. Reed, you didn't know this before I told you the other day.
No, didn't know.
For people that want a timeline, he was in office the same time John F. Kennedy was in office. So that's a crucial time. I mean,
60s. Our dads was in high school, you know.
hey, the country's being run by some, non-white looking guy. You know what I mean? Anyway, so at the same time, Reed, you know about the fellow who was trying to get enrolled into University of Mississippi, the black man that was trying to get enrolled in the University of Mississippi.
James Meredith.
James Meredith. So
James Meredith.
Ross Barnett was against it. They sent, I think, National Guard up to Ole Miss. They weren't going to let this happen. I mean, call a spade a spade. I mean, this guy was totally against anything and everything that represented unity amongst races. And yet there's signs all over the place honoring this man. We're calling it the Ross Barnett Reservoir, but like this is stuff.
I was hanging out at that mug like it was cool. You brought me there, dog. Like I feel some type of way. Like you brought
this.
Me.
Well, I mean, this is stuff that. This is stuff that, if you would have asked him, can black people go swim at the reservoir named after? He's like, hell no, no.
Can I bring Malcolm and JJ here with me?
It's like,
hell no.
I mean, you know what I mean?
No,
right.
Sir.
So, I mean, there's a lot of things.
Ross, you ain't gotta be like that.
There's a lot of things that just get kind of washed to the side. Listen, once again, I don't care if they rename the reservoir. I don't care. They can name it. They can name it.
Name it James Meredith Reservoir, man.
I don't care
what James Meredith.
They can call it hazmat.
Name it Mega Evans. That's who
reservoir.
they need them. That's who they need to name it after. Mega Evans. That's a real OG from Jackson.
Okay, I'm still gonna go to the reservoir, but I just feel like that if we're gonna tackle all these issues right now as a country, like it's gonna take what's happening for people to stand up, man, and say, we got to come together. This ain't happening. You know what I mean? Yeah. If and specifically black people, but white people have to kind of help out because it's good. It's good for everyone. So this
racism ain't good for nobody, bro.
Right. So what I've continued to see with protests and just certain things going around my community is that stuff is changing. Stuff is getting changed. Laws are getting, put into consideration to change flags and to take down names and certain stuff like that. So I'm happy the way things have been going. And by the way, we had no one's died in a protest. No one's been, killed by.
Yeah, y'all ain't had no kind of issues with protesting in the last month or so since the George Floyd thing popped off.
No, and
we had some protests, and there was some situations that it got a little uncomfortable, but I haven't heard anything about it being any kind of any hostilities between police and the protesters. But there was some like vandalism that took place to some of the guys who I know vehicles. But who knows who did that and who was behind it? You can only speculate, but you can't prove it.
Well, speaking of Baton Rouge, what's going on with the school board situation there in Baton Rouge? So if you could inform me on what's going on, because like I said, the flag, that's stuff that's been hitting hard. You said in Baton Rouge y'all are having the school board issues.
Yeah. So in general, there's a lot of monuments in New Orleans.
Oh yeah.
I just talked about Jackson Square, and people have been trying to, take that down. And there's a movement, an organization called Take Them Down NOLA, a guy who I know, Michael Quest Moore is affiliated with that. And he, they doing a lot of work down there in New Orleans too. So I want to shout them out because that's, it's so many in New Orleans that it's crazy. It just goes to show like the corruption and the in Louisiana, people think it's way better for some reason in Mississippi because of the picture that we sell to the media. But New Orleans do be on it popping, but the poverty and the things going on. Anyway, that's in New Orleans. I'm from Baton Rouge. Let's make sure we get that straight. But shout out to them. But here, right now, we got a situation with this Lee High School. So Robert E. Lee, we got a school named after him on a kind of a busy street in a more affluent section of the city, close to the LSU. It's called South Downs. You've been through it before.
Okay.
The school had been named Robert E. Lee for years. I think it opened in the 50s. And, they were the rebels. So they had Confederate flags all over the place.
Right.
And when schools got integrated, a lot of black people end up having to go to Lee High just for trying to desegregate, trying to force the issue, which, people wasn't ready for that at the time, but it happened. And it caused problems. But it's, it kept going. So 4 years ago, they wanted to reopen the school. The school closed down and they reopened. And man, this campus is like $60 million. I can't remember the number, but they put so much money into this school, bro. It looked like a house campus. And McKinley, which is the oldest black school in the whole state, ain't got them kind of millions, but McKinley serves a different demographic. And, once again, different neighborhood, different financing. But anyway, they changed the name of the school 4 years ago from Robert E. Lee to just Lee and reopened it as a magnet school. It looks beautiful. And, we got the smart students. They made a football team. They got a basketball team. So they pretty much still in all the quality students that would have went to McKinley are going to Lee, because, look at the facility. Which one would you do? What would you do?
Yeah.
That is, academically advanced and athletically advanced and wants to be around the right spot. So anyway, so what happened at the school board office this week with Miss Connie Benard, who is, she.
This all has to do with the two schools reopening and the name. Okay, go ahead.
Yeah, so it was up for renaming again because they want to get Lee off the school name completely, like get it off of there.
Get Robert E. Lee's name off.
Well, they already got Robert E. off. Now we got to get Lee.
Well, there's a lot of Robert E. Lee schools in the South that mostly black kids go to.
A whole lot of them.
I know there's one in Alabama. All right, go ahead.
Yeah. So they finally decided, to vote on it again. But while they are deliberating and talking about it, this lady, Connie Benard, who is a school board member, is on her computer shopping, dog. Like she looking up dresses. and she got caught. They took a picture of it. So Gary Chambers, who is an activist in Baton Rouge, he really did a lot. He has been doing a lot of work for a lot of years. What's up?
This lady that we're speaking of?
By Connie. Mm-hmm.
You said her name is Connie?
Benard.
So I'm assuming she was white.
She's a white lady.
Okay. And this is crucial because we're talking about majority black students. And she's like, I don't care about the school name, dog. Let me get some shopping
dress,
on.
Baby. I need a new dress.
Okay, so
there's some kind of cyber sale going on.
Is she fired?
No, so they can't fire her. She got to resign. And 2 years ago, she choked the kid at his house. Like she went to some kid's house and choked him.
Is there truth to that?
And they asked her to resign in, and she didn't do it. And now they asking her again because she don't care, obviously. So they took the picture and showed it to her, and like Gary Chambers went off and viral. LeBron even retweeted, the video of him. I don't know if you saw. I sent it to you. I think I posted it on our page. But Gary let her have it, man, and he did right. He let her have it for real. So she walked out, and today the school board members held a meeting. It was 4 of them. They were all two black males and 2 black females that spoke about what happened the other night, and he just straight up. They straight up said, you got to 12 o'clock tomorrow to resign. and if you don't, we gonna come after your constituents or whatever. So she already said that she's not gonna resign, and I just thought that was so crazy how all that happened. Because I mean, bro, why is she? If let me had gone and choked one of my neighbors' kids.
Well, we talked about that.
Choked one of my neighbor's kids.
We talked about that.
Where would I be?
For some reason, teachers, you know, they have different. Teachers have like the utmost, you know, strictest rules, and if we pat a kid too hard, we could go to jail.
Man,
it seems like it's like everyone's surrounded. Now I get it. There's certain issues, but yeah, I know what you mean. That seems so. What's the end game here with that? When are they supposed to finalize?
They actually voted already, and Lee is going to be removed. And I guess they're in the process of thinking about what the new name is. They also voted on a new superintendent for East Baton Rouge School District. But yeah, man, that just was a crazy little story because it's so crazy that our own school district is so much BS that could have gone viral already, you know. And I don't work anymore. So that gives me a little bit of freedom to talk about it as well. But I still care about, you know, the schools and the kids there because I worked there for 9 years, man. And, you know, I've seen the things that's happened. Like the last thing that's worried about right now is McKinley losing the gifted program because, you know, the gifted program was extremely strong in McKinley when I was in school, but everybody opening these magnets and McKinley don't have a magnet program. So that's about to be put up to be voted for on July 1st, I think. So, you know, I want to see, you know, McKinley get what it deserves. You know, like I said, I'm a Santa Mar Gator 100%. But you know, I ain't gonna forget about my roots and my people. So I want both schools to do great.
Right.
Have everything in McKinley too.
I mean, no, you're right, Reed. We should dump, you know, billions into schools anyway. It's sad that we're always having to have these issues like you're talking about with your school board there in Baton Rouge. But I mean, would you say that the story-driven or the media-driven story, are they trying to make it about race, or are they truly focusing on the education and the children part of things to say this is what – because, you know, things can get lost, man. Like right now, so much is happening. Whoever screams the loudest or has the most people at their protest, it seems to be getting things done. While,
that's true.
You know, there's certain things that are happening that are very important, like education with your young people there. So anyway, I didn't let you answer your question. What are they?
Go ahead.
I was going to say, is the media focusing on the racial side of things there, or are they focusing on the true important?
I think the people who are doing the talking are highlighting the fact that highlighting the racial disparities. So the media is just covering. I don't think that the media really has an agenda. They kind of just rolling with, you know, people doing things, just making good news. You know, making popular news, making hot takes. So I'm glad you brought that up because, you know, I do. You know, sometimes have concerns about who our leaders are and what their agendas are. Because everybody does have a personal agenda. So when it comes to education in these kids, man, I don't care about any kind of recognition or credit. I'm in the trenches and been there for the longest, and I'm doing what's right. And like you talked about with our dads, we trying to lead by example, and that's all we can do. So as educators, that's the best thing we do. But we gotta make people aware of what's going on. So I don't really think I don't think the media has spun that situation one way or the other. I think they just report, and the people who are involved have taken control of the narrative and not really letting the media take it over. Like we kind of have that power on. I mean, look at what we're doing right now. Like we sharing our stories, and we can't. Nobody else could tell them for us. Like we tell them for ourselves, and that's what I think more people need to be doing. Honestly.
No, I mean, I agree. I try to instill that in the kids that I teach too, about just, you know, you got to make your own path and you got to stand up for what you truly believe in. And, you know, it's so hard to get a kid under 20, 4. Man, it's very rare. Let's say it's hard to get a kid under 22 to see 6 feet in front of the face. You know what I mean? There's a lot of things that I wish I would have put more attention to growing up, that was going on around me. And I think that's all we can do is focus on everything within our, ripple effect. Because so many people try to worry and control things that won't matter. But if you worry about your inner circle and the people around you, that can just hopefully ripple effect from there. But all right, Reed, you may not know this, but until you told me about Juneteenth, I had no clue what it was. Does that make me racist?
No, it
Okay.
don't make you racist.
Okay.
How would you know if no one ever told you or showed it to you?
Okay, I've heard of Juneteenth and knew loosely about what it was, but I didn't realize to the extent of what it was. Could you educate, before I end with, a quote? I'm going to end with a quote from Frederick Douglass in honor of Juneteenth. Can you tell mostly my followers what Juneteenth is? I'm just kidding.
All right. I think first off, I forgot. I wanted to share this little jingle from Ross Barnett's campaign.
Ross Barnett's campaign? Okay.
Yeah, I gotta say it. Remember it? All right, you ready?
Yeah.
Roll with Ross. Roll with Ross. He's his own boss. For segregation, 100%. He's not a moderate like some of the gents. He'll fight integration with forceful intent. Ross Barnett, ladies and gentlemen. And I approve your message.
Let's go swim in his reservoir. All right.
I got maybe one day.
Anyway.
All right. But anyway, so Juneteenth, bro. To be honest, I ain't really know too much about Juneteenth. Like, I kind of knew what it was. I thought it was a cool word, to be honest, mostly when I was a kid, like Juneteenth. I would see like banners because they used to have a picnic in the park, like the neighborhood that my daddy grew up in. It's called a park. So Eden Park. And that's what used to have a little picnic out there, a little cookout at Gus Young. So, my dad even took us a couple times. I remember going, just to hang out with the people, with all his friends and stuff, and we just would play around and eat food. I didn't really understand what it was about, until I ain't learned that until after college. So I really knew what it was, which is a celebration of like the last general going to Texas and telling slaves that they were free, because they hadn't even got the news yet. Obviously, no internet or no phones like that at that time. So, everything came from the horse Mac, the Pony Express or whatever. So
right.
Those people, had been free, from the Emancipation Proclamation, but that had no jurisdiction over the Confederate States of America. But when the war was over and the 13th Amendment was ratified in 1865, and slavery was officially over, except for punishment for a crime. We can talk about that later. But that's what it really is about. It was the end, the last people who didn't know, what the slavery had ended, got word, and we kind of celebrate, that moment. But like you said, we went from slavery to segregation and Jim Crow and lynchings and all these other things. So like, I feel it. I want to celebrate, and I think those people who were enslaved and got their freedom in their lifetime and got to experience that had to be a beautiful thing.
Right.
It had something worth celebrating. So I celebrate on behalf of those people who prayed for years and years for that day of, salvation, basically. Mm-hmm. And, that was honored. So many souls was lost, but it still was work to be done on that date. So I don't get too caught up into it emotionally on that level, because it's still work to be done today. So, I just want a world not found, you know what I'm saying? That's all I could do. And I always said to my class and to anybody who listened to me, I'm not trying to change the whole world. I am trying to change my world. in the world that I live in by doing the best that I can do to, the things that I can touch, to make it better than it was. So, because sometimes you just detach from something and you really don't care about it. Like I talked about with celebrity deaths and stuff like that. But I to Kobe Bryant emotionally. So, that bothered me on that level, and I did care. But a lot of times, it's like, damn, I can't hear that music no more. Or, I can't see him play, blah, blah, blah. But, life keep going on. It don't really affect you. Things don't affect you unless they really are close to you.
Very well said, young Reed. All right, so I'm going to hit you with this.
Thank you.
So, if there's anything you want to add, after this, go ahead. But so Frederick Douglass said it's easier to build strong children than to repair broken men. Right? So it seems like we're still in a culture in 2020 where we're trying to repair broken men. Why though? Like, you're a grown man. I'm a grown man. We are grown men, dude. Let's forget about it.
Right.
It's so much easier if we rebuild our foundation. And you and I have said this 100 times, man. It starts with education of the children. That may be in the home, that may be in the school, that may be in a church, that may be on a sports team, but as a country, we worrying too much about trying to repair broken men. We've got to start worrying about our children and the generations to come. And I think so many people in this country, especially politicians who aren't touched by us, they don't care what happens in 20 years because they'll be dead. They do not care.
They buy dresses and shop.
They make decisions based on their life right now, right? And
which is wrong.
I really wish we had people who are willing to go protest and stand up for what they believe in. Those are people fighting for the future now. Anyway, so that's all I got for you tonight, young Reed. You want to hit them with the outro, all the shout outs and stuff? That's fine too.
Just to kind of wrap up what you said about, the kids, bro. I think this is a very important time right now, and these kids are seeing things play out. And the generation that's coming after us got to be better than us, and it's up to us to do that. We can control it, but we are educators, so we've been in the trenches for years, man. So our impact should be felt, and if we can work with other people who can help, all the teachers can impact. So I try my best to lead by example as that goes, and learn from other teachers what works, and try to teach them what works for me. And if I can be a better teacher, a better coach, better father, husband, teammate, brother, whatever I need to be to make other people, to help other people out, I'm gonna do that. Just do what's right and live with the results and hope for the best. You know what I'm saying? Not gonna be perfect, but gotta keep working.
Right.
And that's it, bro. So that's I think we're gonna wrap it up. We wrap it.
Yeah.
All right, we're wrapping up another episode of Chestnut Checkers. We want to just thank everybody who tuned in to the live. We still figuring this thing out a little bit, you know what I'm saying? But we working, and we having fun doing it. So thank y'all so much. I've been getting a lot of text messages and calls with feedback from people who are supporting the show, and we definitely want to acknowledge that, because it's very encouraging and motivating, and it's humbling. Like, man, people really actually might care to listen to what I got to say, man.
And I see everyone comment. I see everyone comment on Facebook. Noah and several other ones who are Noah got Jefferson Davis, by the way. He knew that. But just several others
who been a big help,
giving their feedback and whatnot. But all right, young Reed. we'll try to get a little bit early next week. Maybe roll up on a Sunday evening, but
Yep.
keep them updated. All right.
For sure. Yep. Holla. Make sure y'all subscribe, listen, click on the link, follow the Facebook page. We posting some news. We are officially reporters and journalists now. We just gonna, claim it and we'll operate as needed in that capacity. You got anything to say? Say something.
Something. Let me do the next thing.
Oh man.
You'll kill asleep.
That's it, bro.
All right, Reed. I'll see you.
Hold up. I'll let you.
Okay. All right, bro. See you.
Thought y'all. Thank y'all again. Chestnut Checkers Podcast, episode 3. Done.